All right, James, let's unpack Anastasia. You mentioned in our part one of our interview, talking about your career as a whole, that you were extremely excited to be in Anastasia. It meant a lot to you.
Yeah,
Um,
it still does.
yeah, and you had a bad experience with certain portions of the show, and in no way was a reflection of your entire experience as a whole with it.
Right. Yes. Correct.
So let's unpack a little bit. What was the first thing really that got when you noticed things were going a little sideways?
Well, the first time I felt something was different was when once we start the contract. So before we start the contract, my agents say, okay, they want to know, are there any contractual dates that you already have, that you're booked for. So I had some dates booked for a wedding, and I had dates booked for a dance show in Philly that I was doing. I said, oh, I only have these dates. It was like 2 weekends in October. And in any other job I've had before, those are considered contractual dates. They don't come out of your personal days. They don't come out of your vacation. They don't do that. Doesn't happen. So months into the show, Brian goes, so what are we doing with these dates that you have? And I'm like, what date? Those aren't those contractual dates? She goes, no, they're personal dates. I said, wait, I don't understand. Like, why would you? I have the emails from you saying, you said I see you have some dates already pre-approved before I signed the contract. So they're not supposed to be taken out of my personal days. Make a long story short, what they ended up making me do, they made me use my personal days. I ended up not going to the wedding, and then they made me do a vacation from a Thursday through a Wednesday, I believe it was. But also I didn't really get my full vacation because we were doing the parade. So one of those days, I believe it was, yeah. So the first day, we did the recording, because you have to record the vocals. And they were like, oh, well, you don't have to be there. I said, no, of course I want to be there. It's the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Right.
And she was like, well, I know it's your vacation. I'm like, yeah, because you're making me do this. I didn't choose to have this vacation this way. You're making me do this because you guys won't give me the contractual dates that I asked for before I signed the contract. But whatever. So so fast forward to later, the second year, a guy came into the show. It's a new guy. Came into the show and he had contractual dates. It said it on the board. So I went and said, hey, why? Okay, I need to know, like, why is it different for him, but it wasn't contractual for me? And she says, oh, but that's because his agent negotiated that. And I was like, my agents did the same thing. You guys asked me before I signed the contract, and then also emailed me again saying you understood that I had approved dates. Okay. So that's one thing. Speaking of contracts and things. So when you sign a contract in the ensemble on Broadway, I'm not sure how this works the same with principals, but for the ensemble, they used to be 6-month writers. Now they're 1-year writers. So you cannot leave the show unless it's for a principal role. But other than that, you have to stay in the show for a year. So, and at the end of the contract, at the end of the writer, you get, if the show is still open, you get like a bonus, and then you can sign another year writer, or you can opt for a 4-week out. Now, the dance captain was given the option to sign a 6-month writer, and he was given permission to leave the show for 3 months to set An American in Paris in Japan. Another actor signed the 1-year writer with the addendum that he could do Moulin Rouge in Boston, and that he could leave the show when Moulin Rouge came to Broadway, depending on if the show was still open. So he signed the 1-year writer. I asked my agents, I said to them, I would like to, if I'm going to sign a 1-year writer, I would like to have outs for any TV and film. If I book something. And now I did a lot of TV and film last year, actually, especially during my second year, and I didn't have to miss the show for most of them because I was done by 5 or 6. So most times when you're doing TV and film, especially if you're doing like a co-star, you're done in time to do your show.
Right.
I mean, I did Smash when I was in Lion King. The only time I had to take personal days was last year was for a film I shot in Syracuse, and I booked that film like a month before, and I just had to just switch some days. So, and I had to fly. So, so I had to take a personal day for that.
Yeah.
But, and I know for a fact that 2 principals were given an option. Like, the principals were given the option of any outs for TV and film. So my agents, and I said to my agent, I said, if you guys can do this for me, get me this, I'll continue to pay you 10%. Because after a year, after you do a 1-year rider with the show, you don't have to pay. Everyone needs to know this. You don't have to pay your agents after that first year. I told my agents, I said, if you guys can do this for me, I'll continue to pay you 10%. Otherwise, I'm requesting to pay you 5%. So they came back to me and said that management says that they will not give me that because no other ensemble member has asked for it. I'm an ensemble member. I'm asking for it.
Right.
They wouldn't give it to me. This guy is out for 3 months. Another guy's out for 4. I'm asking for a possible. I'm asking for a potential. I'm willing to sign a 1-year rider, meaning I cannot leave the show. And all I'm asking for are potential outs. I may not even book a TV show in the next year.
Right.
So I'm actually trying to, protect the show in a sense, because I'm saying, no, I will be here. I'll be here for a year. But can I get this? I know you guys. I know these people are getting that. I'm asking for this. No. So those are things that were different. I'm also a guy. I've been in this business for a long time. I always go through the chain of command. When I did Little Dancer at my fitting, the wardrobe supervisor, or no, was he just? I think he was assistant to William Ivy Long. At the first fitting, he asked me, would you mind growing your hair out for the show? And I said, of course not. So I grew my hair out for Little Dancer. When it got too long, there was a guy there at NDC who trimmed it. I was like, it's getting kind of crazy because my hair was really long.
Yeah.
And he trimmed it for me when it got unbearably long. That never happened for Anastasia. So I do go to Philly to get my hair cut. It's my thing. We all have our things. I've been going to Philly to get my hair cut since I moved to New York. It's my quirk. It's my thing. I know women who go to Baltimore to get their hair braided. Like, it's
right. It's like not like you're flying to China in first class. It's like you're taking the train to Philly, or gas money to Philly.
And if I had a barber and if I could afford to go to China to get my hair cut, I would do it.
That's right.
I would do it because I want to look good. So during rehearsal process for the show, we rehearsed Monday through Saturday. We were rehearsing Monday through Saturday, so we were off on Sundays. My barbershops are not open on Sundays or Mondays. So during the whole rehearsal process, I couldn't get my hair cut. And as we were getting closer to opening, I went to Chuck. He was the hair designer of the show. And I said, hey, Chuck, we never talked about this, but my hair's really long, and I don't keep it this long usually. How would you like it for the show? He goes, well, how do you usually keep it? I was like, well, it's usually like a low fade, but I'm not sure, like, how would you like it for the period? I said, at Little Dancer, my hair was really long and curly, like it was like super curly to get that French effect. So he and his assistant Google imaged me, and my headshot came up. And he said, oh, that's fine. The headshot has the haircut that I always get. Also, equity rule is you're hired as is. So they have to, if they want you to alter your hair, they have to ask you, can you keep your hair a certain way, and if you say no, then they can provide a wig for you. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's I think that's right. I could be wrong, but they do have to ask you. But anyway, I went to Chuck, and he said, oh, that's fine. So when I went to go get my hair cut, it's opening night. My first original Broadway cast opening. I'm like, I want to look good. Everyone else is getting their hair cut and getting cute and everything. I want to look good. So I got my hair cut, and came back to the show. It was a Friday night. Came back into the show, and that evening I got an email from Bonnie. We need to talk about your hair. And I responded to the email, and I had those emails too, if people want to see it. I responded. I said, why are you talking about my hair? I said, I spoke with Chuck. I went to the powers that be, and it was approved. I was like, other members in this, other guys at the time, it was Wes Hart and Kyle Brown. They both got haircuts by their barbers. Why am I different? Just come to me before the show tomorrow. So I went to her the next day before the show, and she pulled me aside and I said, can I have an equity rep just so this can be safe? She goes, well, I'm going to get Kim Kelly so I can feel safe. Kim Kelly is the company manager. I was like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me, her, Kim Kelly, and Johnny Stellar, who was the equity rep for the actors. And I was told that they were trying to find a solution for my hair. The solution was, they put this stuff in my hair to make it look fuller because something with the microphone or something, they wanted it to blend in with the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And that from now on, I was not allowed to get my hair cut outside of the theater. I had to get my hair cut by the woman at the time. Her name was Kaylin at that time. And then when she left, another woman was cutting my hair. So I'm the only person of color getting my hair cut, being forced to get my hair cut, while other people in the cast are allowed to do this and that, get their hair cut. And I remember one of the dressers made a comment to one of the other guys about their haircut, about how they had a fade. And like, oh, that's very 1920s, like making a joke.
All right.
Because and I would really sit there. And this particular actor, he said James, I'm sorry. He said it pisses me off when this dresser says this to me because I know what you went through.
Mm-hmm.
The actor said this to me, and I was like, yeah, but it's so unfair. And I'm like, but if I say something, I'm the problem. So fast forward to why we're here today. We are here today because last year there was a changeover. Our wardrobe supervisor left our show to go open another show,
mm-hmm.
and took most of his team with him, but some people stuck around, and the turnover was rough, which is fine. It's a turnover. We had a dresser who just, there was always something wrong, and I would joke with him, like, I would make like little jokes to try to lighten, because I know it's stressful. It's stressful.
Yeah.
So like, but after the first month, you're like, okay. And also at the time, everyone was having issues with this dresser, and people. So we were told to, in July, it was that weekend before my birthday of July, we were told to come up with the list. The men's ensemble was told to come up with a list of things, date it, and give it to Bonnie Panson. That Sunday, Dustin Layton, the dance captain, we all sent him I sent him a text. I think I even emailed my list to Bonnie as well. And I said to her, I said, I'm only going to include, in my list, I'm only going to put down things that happen repeatedly. If something new happens, like it's a one-time thing, I'm not going to put that down because mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's live theater, and like it's not about someone making a mistake one time and then like a month later doing something. No, these things were happening every single show.
Mm-hmm.
So we sent her that list, and then she came back a week later and said, I talked to Eddie, who was the wardrobe supervisor at the time, and just keep sending me these lists, and there are unions involved, so we can't get, if you want someone, she said, her words, she said, if you want someone fired, we gotta keep doing this. And I'm like, it's not about getting someone fired, it's about
Being treated
just handling the wardrobe thing. So the other fellas in the company decided not to, they said forget that, that's not our job, like we have a show to do, like why, I'm not gonna keep writing you this. I kept my own personal log, and I would give it to her monthly.
Mm-hmm.
This, and if something was like really like strenuous, like something crazy, like my my shirts were smelling, and then I would say, okay, this shirt it smells really mildewy, or my dance belts were stained. There was a moment where I didn't have ballet shoes, so I had to provide my own shoes. I had to provide my own ballet shoes. I had to provide my own t-shirts at times, and my own dance belts at times, because they didn't have the ballet boots for me. and they did not have clean underwear for me. And I was the only person who went through that. Nobody else in the cast went through that. I don't care what anyone says. No one else had to wear their own dance clothes. No one else had to wear their own t-shirts. And some of the guys were throwing their t-shirts in the trash. I was not one of those guys. When I went to her, there was an outfit I wear for the train, and I was complaining. I was like, "Hey, can y'all figure out what's going on? It's really funky." And we're in Russia, but we're not in Russia for real. We're wearing like we are in Russia, and we're on the hot lights. So when you start sweating, that funk comes up, and it's nobody wants to stink.
Yeah.
So they decide to douse my button-down shirt for the train costume in Lysol. They doused my shirt in Lysol to the point where, like, even my scene partner, she was like, "What is that?" I said, "That's my shirt." And I had 3 reactions. I was choking, I couldn't breathe, and I had a migraine. I had never experienced that before in my life, and I had to drop out of the show. I was like, this is really making me sick. And the next day, Bonnie goes, "I just don't want you to, you need to calm down." I said, "Bonnie, I've never ever felt that way in my life. I'm allowed to panic."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "I don't use Lysol on my shirt." She goes, "James, I'm not." She goes, "I have a strong nose. I don't smell it.
That's because your head's up here. You know what?
And then she goes, "James, we're not doing this to you on purpose." And I've never accused anyone of this, but when someone said that to you, that tells me that
that's like you are doing it on purpose. That's
right?
why you brought it up.
Right. So I stopped. So I stopped going to her because about things, because I was like, you know what? When I go to her, she was always either you never know what side you're gonna get from Bonnie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't know if I can come to you about. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. I would just email her the list of things.
And you have a record when you do that.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So I just email a list of things. And it came to the point where one time she's like, "Well, I want to, and I said, Bonnie, it's really becoming bothersome because, I go to Maddie, the dresser, and I say, "Hey, Maddie, this is happening. Why is this happening every day now?" It's like, I even said, Maddie, like, I understand mistakes happen, but like, at least come up with a new mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, I don't understand why aren't my costumes preset? Why is this costume tangled? Why is this costume not clean? Why is this hat missing? Why is every single day the same exact thing? Like, for 5 months before I went to Equity.
Yeah.
For 5 months on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Baskets not missing. And I was noticing that other people were not having the issues to the extent that I was having.
Mm-hmm.
So that does look a bit fishy to me. And I even mentioned that to Equity. Because nobody was going through what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one went through that thing with the Lysol. No one else had issues with that body issue. Everyone else had their costumes and things available for them.
Yeah.
And it just became okay. Like, okay, I need to do something about. I need to go to Equity. Now, the reason why I went to Equity, this was mentioned in the article, so I don't need to go into that anymore. This is about when the situation where I was looking for Maddie and I was looking for the t-shirt, and Emily Roscoe in here yelled at me and made comments about my character. And I want to make something really clear. When I said I need a t-shirt, I didn't have an attitude. I literally said the words, "I need a t-shirt." Because, and let me tell you why. Because it was getting to the point where if a show went perfectly well with no wardrobe problems, it felt wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because that particular moment, I never had a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
There were many things like that throughout the show. I mean, I have pages and pages of things.
You have receipts for everything.
I do. Pages and pages, and also things that I sent to Bonnie. Like, nothing was ever done about it. So anyway, fast forward I went to Equity about the wardrobe thing. We had that meeting, and then I got written up. I got written up for creating a hostile environment. A hostile environment that Emily Roscoe created. Mm-hmm. She's the one that attacked my character. I just said, "Don't come for my character. You don't want me to come back." That's all I said to her. And I watched this woman yell profanities at people at the job. I've never done it to anyone at job in that space. I've never. I watched other actors make fun of my dresser, make fun of his assumed disability. They assume that he's on the spectrum. They assume that they would call him retarded. I've never ever said that or ever called him those things. I watch other actors talk to Bonnie, cursing at her, using profanity with her, telling her what they will and will not do on stage. I've never done that. I've never talked to Bonnie that way.
At what point did you think that it leapt into racism versus
Yes.
you not? Maybe you just weren't liked. Why was it a black and white thing?
So I think when I'm not someone that jumps to that conclusion immediately. So whereas people may have thought I went there with the whole hair thing in the beginning, I didn't go there. No, it wasn't until this situation happened when I went to Bonnie. Now Bonnie was the one that told me. She said, "If you come, like James, come to me with every single problem. I don't care how big or small." And I said to her, "But Bonnie, it seems so petty and so small. Like I should be able to just go to my dresser and get fixed." And I said, "I know you have a million things to worry about." And she said, "James, you be my 1,000,001. She said, "I don't care how big or small. Come to me. If I'm not there, leave a note." So that's what I did. Anything, no matter how big or small, I started going to her. So same thing. When this situation happened where I didn't have a T-shirt, and then Emily attacked my character, I went to Bonnie's office because she was calling the show, and I left her 3 Post-its. One that said that my T-shirt was missing again, and I left 2 notes expressing that I did not like the fact that Emily attacked my character when I've been coming to you about this issue for the past 5 months. Those are 3 notes that I left on Bonnie's station. At the end of the show, I went down to Bonnie just to check in with her and let her know what's going on. I knock on her door. I don't hear an answer. So I knock on again, and she goes, "Who is it?" I said, "It's James." She says, "It's James." So I thought there was someone in the room. So I turned my back to leave. She opens the door and she backs up into her chair. She goes, "James, I'm keeping this door open because I want everyone in here. I want to feel safe." And I said, "Wait."
For 3 Post-it notes?
I said, "Wait, I'm confused." She goes, "People are complaining about you." She goes, "What did you say to Maddie?" I said, "I need a T-shirt." And I said, "I'm coming to you because someone attacked my character about nothing they knew nothing about." I'm like, "Wait a minute." I said, "But right now, what you're doing?" I said, "You're like," I stood at the I didn't even go into the room because I was afraid because I was like, "Okay, you're acting in a way like when I walk down the street with my dog in the Upper West Side and white women walk across the street, or just being a black man up here in general. That's the feeling that's what I got from her." I said, "Right now your actions are racially triggering because I've never done anything to warrant that kind of behavior from Bonnie. Never. I've watched others do it. I've never done anything to warrant that kind of behavior."
Do you think there was like a big discussion that night during the show for these 3 people to now gang up on you?
I know for a fact I watched Emily go around to other cast members and keep and continue the situation because after I dropped it. I watched her go. She was talking to other cast members and they still talking about it. And then when I walk by, through changing stuff, they would get all like quiet. And I even heard one actor say, "Well, now you know," like as I was walking by. And me, if you and I have a spat, or once it's done, it's done. I'm not going around to someone saying this, saying that. But that's when I felt like, okay, this is different. And even in the meeting next day, I said, okay, why is it okay? I was like, if you got, they also said, I never caused any problems, never caused any issues, but yet you're taking this person's word over mine. I didn't even get a chance to tell my side of the story. You're taking this person's word over mine, and I was like, something's not right. And then you tell me you feel unsafe. And then said I called you racist. I said, "I never called you racist." I said, "Your actions are racially triggering." And I said, "I'm gonna leave because what you're doing right now, I don't feel safe. And that's when I called Equity. And the next day in the meeting with Equity, she was getting loud, pointing her finger in my face. She goes, you know what? How about I write her? You know what? No, now I feel threatened. How about I write her a report? How about I write you up? This is Bonnie in the meeting with Actors Equity and Company Management going off in my face because I called the union because she was not able to fix a wardrobe situation. She even said to me, and when I came to the door the night before, she said, I'm sick. I'm not equipped to handle this now. It's out of my hands, James. I'm like, but if that's the case, why are you equipped to talk to other people about me? But you're not equipped. Oh, now you're sick. Now you're not equipped. That doesn't add up to me. That doesn't add up to me.
There was also an incident where a penis was drawn.
Yes.
An ejaculating penis.
Ejaculating penis was drawn. So the first year of the show, some of the fellas put up chalkboard paper on their side of the dressing room, and we had these things called snobs. We had Saturday night on Broadway. We would have like parties up there, and so all the original cast members, we all signed our signatures up there. A few days after the incident with Emily, two of the new guys were talking to the other guys about the name, about the signatures. And they were like, oh, what's this about? And they were describing it. And someone said, what's this penis? And I look up, and I see the penis ejaculating over my name. So I took a picture of it, and I reported it to Equity. I was like, okay, now I'm not sure what's going on. We need to figure this out and have this handled. During this time period, more things were happening. Like there were some microaggressions from Bonnie. She would do things because I was told by Equity after the write-up. I was told by Corey Jenkins, lay low, just keep it cool. He goes, James, you're doing your job amazing. He said they said that you they never had an issue with you. So just lay low. It'll all boil over. Lay low. Just go under the radar. Here's what happened when I went under the radar. They accused me of lack of communication. So I was creating a hostile environment. And I was violent. But then when I'm walking on eggshells, trying to be on my best behavior, my lack of communication is also creating an unsafe environment. I'm not, and I wasn't. That's not true. I was actually communicating with people if it was related to the show. Mm-hmm. I was not going out of my way to talk to Bonnie, and this woman just really hurt my feelings. She really I feel like I can't trust you. And even Actors Equity, Corey said if you don't feel safe, do everything in writing. Just make sure you text, copy someone else, copy us on it. So that's what I would do. Sorry, I'm jumping around because so much happened. So what she would do, she would go out of her way to block path like my traffic pattern when she wasn't calling the show. So I would have to say excuse me, or I would have to reach around. Mm-hmm. I got changed downstairs in the orchestra, and where I got changed, basically it's like a pathway. So she would, and she never did this before, but she would find ways to come down when I'm changing in my clothing. So if I'm putting a shirt on, I had to really literally whenever she walked past, I literally had to just be still, because I was afraid that if I would do something that would hit her.
Right, if you accidentally touched her.
Yes. She would also do this thing where she would, at the end of the show, now she pats everyone on the back, but if I'm such a violent human being, and she's putting both of her hands on my shoulder, I'm like, but I thought I was hostile and violent. Would you go out of your way to make physical contact with someone who's hostile and violent to you? I don't think so.
No.
And it was really making me. It was because I'm sitting here being quiet and just trying to So I had to change my whole backstage traffic. December 6th, I had to I called out of the show, but this was the first time since the incident that I called out of the show because and when I called out, I sent her a text as I usually do. The only difference was I added the ASM onto the text message just to make sure everything was and I said, hi, I don't feel well enough to come into the show tonight. I'm out. The next day, I'm in the shower. It's like 3 o'clock, something like that. I'm in the shower, and I see that I have a missed call from her and a text. And the text says, "Are you coming back in tonight?" I say, "Yes, I'll be in. I'll be in tonight." I get to work that day, and I get there. Usually, when I get there early enough, I go to the front of the house. I say hi to the ushers. I say hi to the bar staff, box office. I try to say hi to everybody before a show. So I'm coming back onto the stage, and I'm coming in, and there's this doorway by Chrissy Altamar's dressing room, and she blocked my path. She goes, we need to talk. And I said, Bonnie, I don't feel safe talking with you alone. She goes, great, I don't feel safe either. Let's get Wes. Wes was the equity rep for the ensemble members for the show. And I said no, I'll email Corey, and we can set up a meeting or something like that. And she's like, oh no, it's not a Corey situation. I was like, excuse me, can I get by? And she chased me up the stairs. She goes, it's about your leave of absence. So what I said to her, well, I already got approved by Beverly Edwards, so there really isn't anything to talk about. That was Friday, the 7th. On December 12th, the following 7th, 8th, 9th. I think it was the 11th or the 12th, the 11th, the Tuesday the 11th. I got the email from Beverly saying, we've been told that you are having lack of communication. Here's an example. You called out and you didn't respond to emails and texts. I said, I responded to everything. I was like, I have the log. And also, let me tell you something. There are actors in the show who openly call out when they're not sick and post things on Instagram. There's somebody in the show right before Christmas. He requested 3 personal days. They gave him the first 2 and didn't give him the third one, so he called out. And everyone was talking about it in the theater. He didn't get written up, or they weren't trying. They were reaching for straws. They were trying to find something on me. And I said, I can go into all of my text messages and see that this is the same way that I've always called out. One day.
Yeah. Why would they call it a leave of absence? It was like
one day. Also, one day, and you're telling me I'm. You know what she did? You know what she did last year? I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. And this is like in June. And I said, Bonnie, I'm not feeling well. She goes, I need you today. She goes, I need you tomorrow too. You can't call out. She goes, I'll give you Saturday, Sunday. I'll even give you next Tuesday. But you can't call out tonight or tomorrow. So I went to work Thursday and Friday. And because I went to work sick, I was out for the whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that if I feel sick, I don't go to work.
Oh, why do you want to get your whole cast sick?
And that's what was happening. That's people were afraid to call out sick, and people were coming to work sick, and we were all getting sick. She admittedly said she was sick. Remember, I'm sick. I can't handle this. Then why are you at work?
So what do you say to the people who think that you just have an axe to grind and that you're just being a baby and you're complaining and why are you doing this? And
yeah. So because I'm sure I haven't covered everything here in this interview, but the reason why I decided to go public was because first, I've been reporting to Actors Equity. I've been trying so hard to. I've been trying to file complaints against Bonnie. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to file complaints against the company manager, because I feel like I was being intimidated. I feel like I was being bullied. There was microaggressions happening to me, and I was trying to have it handled internally. Like even, and so I even went to them. I was like, "Yo, people are coming to me and saying this. Like a company member pulled me outside. Like, can we talk?" We went. And, this is in December, and they said to me, they're like, I wasn't there for this, but I want to hear from you because I know you, and I just want to say, like, I want to hear your side of the story. This is one of the actors in the show. And I told them, and they were like, oh, no, that's not how it's being told. They're going around, Emily, and even and Bonnie as well, were basically saying that I was getting in their face, I was cursing them out. None of that ever happened. Also, when I was given that letter from Kim Kelly and Joe Glassman, the write-up, Kim Kelly said to me, she goes, just so you know, James, we're like, this is the official write-up, but as far as we're concerned, This is done and over with. So when I took the letter from her, silently walked away, Kim Kelly goes, wow. But yet, if it's done and over with, why is Emily Roscoe allowed to go around to people? I was not talking about it with anyone in the cast, but she's going around to other cast members and then exaggerating the story, and exaggerating the story, and exaggerating the story. And then I went to go see another show, a friend of mine who stage manages the show, and she goes, I need to talk to you because I'm hearing this, and I've known you since we were how old? What's going on? And I was like, well, what are you hearing? Then they started spreading rumors that I was suing Anastasia. They started spreading these rumors. I was like, what? Like, and she wouldn't tell me who it was, but it was someone from the crew / management. And then the last day of the show, when we closed, someone else from the cast came to me and said that Emily Roscoe said that I had cursed her out and I cursed Maddie out, and that I talked to people this way, and I'm like, what? And the person who said this to me, she goes, James, I've never seen that behavior come from you. So and she's like, I know, and Emily talks trash about everyone, so I know she's a liar. But I'm like, but why? But also, why are they still talking about me? Like, I'm not out here talking about them, and these people are, and also Dustin Layton, the guy who drew the penis. When I started going public about it, he goes, oh, I didn't realize that it was still there. We all had penises drawn up there, and they got erased. And it was we were drunk, and I was like, he goes, I was the one that drew it. And I was like, he goes, I'm so sorry. I was like, well, I accept your apology, but what you don't understand is that if I would have done that, I would have been fired. You are going to do King Kong. You're going to be in the dance cabinet of a national tour of Frozen. Mm-hmm. People are going to believe what people say about me because they don't know me. And that does affect my career. It does affect people when I audition for things. It does affect my mental health. Mm-hmm. So when people are coming to me saying these things, and then actors' equity is not helping me and not doing their job, I've exhausted every alternative.
Right.
I went from the bottom to the top to my union. I need to make this known. Also, there are so many people who are quiet about these kinds of things, And I even said to actors' equity, I said, I am disappointed and disgusted because you told me, equity, you told me this was going to be handled back in December. You told me y'all were going to get this drawing taken down. We were going to have this meeting discussing Bonnie Panson because they are still talking about me in a negative way and spreading rumors, slandering my name, defaming my name, and it's not a representation of who I am as a person, mm-hmm. and it's unfair. And what I'm really happy that what this article has done, it has helped a lot of people share their stories, and some people who are sharing their stories about these same people. Kim Kelly, Bonnie Panson, Dustin Layton. People are sharing their stories with me, with equity, with the writer. Mm-hmm. And we can't all be lying.
And you would think in this Me Too era of people's behavior would be a little bit more on the up and up and not doing things like that. Like, you have to worry about shit like
right.
that. Even if it's meant as a joke and you were drunk, and you can make 100 excuses up, but you still did it, and it was left up there, and it was a mistake. Okay, well, maybe it wasn't a mistake. You know what I mean?
And also, why is it over my name?
Right.
It's very specific. It's not just a drawing of a penis. Mm-hmm. It's a drawing of a penis ejaculating over my name.
Right.
I wasn't there for the joke.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't present in the room when it was done. So how was that okay? And on top of that, he told me this happened basically around 2 years ago. So it had been up there for longer than I even knew it was up there for. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was there until the fellas made mention of it in November. But it had been up there longer, like over almost the whole run apparently.
And if it was a joke, why didn't he just come to you and be like, "Look, I drew this over. I didn't realize it was still up. Like, it was a joke. I don't mean anything by it. It's not. There's no malicious intent, and here it is."
Why? And also with equity, every person at equity that I spoke, they was discussing, we're going to handle this. This is unacceptable. We're going to handle this. Nothing was done. I was told that I was going to meet with Nicole Smart. I think her name is Nicole Smart, I believe. I don't want to get that wrong. It's in the email because it's in the email, and never once met her. Never had a phone call with her from the division, the diversity director. I forget the title, the actual title.
Mm-hmm.
I was told I was going to meet with her. It never happened. None of this, nothing that I was told. I was doing what everyone told me to do. I didn't file the first time. I didn't complain because Corey said that it would seem retaliatory. But then the actually things kept happening. So I have 3 more complaints in emails, in writing, saying I want to file an official complaint.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying it since December. And then they're going to come back and say, oh, we gave him options. No, you did not give me options. The first time I received this, the bylaws, that bylaw book was April 2nd, 2 days after the show closed, when I met with Mary McCall. And the reason why I could not file a complaint was because the actions were so far before it was out of the statute of limitations. So, but mind you, I was asking to file a complaint back when it happened.
Mm-hmm. So what is your point in all this? What's your end game?
And
I don't mean end game making it sound like you're trying to be a puppet master. I'm like, what was your purpose for doing all this?
I was physically sick holding this in. I was physically sick watching people get away with this behavior, and I was physically sick watching others, and people sharing their stories with me even before the article came out mm-hmm. from other companies. And I was like, you know what, I have to say something, because before this article came out, my name was being defamed and slandered. There were lies being said about me. So if I was blacklisted, I wasn't blacklisted because this article came out. I was blacklisted before, whether this article came out or not. I would have been blacklisted by people because people are saying things about mm-hmm. me that aren't true. But I'm not there to defend myself.
Right.
So when people say, "Oh, you're telling my side of the story," yes, I am, because people are out there making up things about me, creating things that I had no way to defend myself. And the only reason why I'm able to even come and say this is because people have come to me and told me what was being said about me. And they feel comfortable coming to me because they know me. They know me as a person, and they know that the things these people are saying, if I was that person, if I was doing all those things, I would have been written up. I would have been reprimanded. Something would have happened.
Right.
Because the fact that I got written up for someone else causing a hostile environment and being told that I'm the hostile violent individual, I shrunk myself. Because I did not want to seem like I was that. And what happened when I did that? I was still being a hostile violent individual because I wasn't communicating with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just goes with the narrative of this world we're living in where the victims are always the wrong.
Yeah, and like people are allowed to scream. I mean, the dresser at one point even said, "I'm going to kill that woman," in front of the whole men's ensemble. Mm-hmm. At one point he said, I work with a bunch of fucking idiots. I'm doing someone else's fucking job. You know, another actor says to Bonnie Panson, "Can you tell them to shut the fuck up?" I've never spoke to anyone in that building like that, and I watched them do that. So I will not let someone defame my name. You can be a hater. You don't have to like me. That's fine and dandy. It's all good. I got some good friends. I got a great family. However, I will not tolerate people lying about me, especially when I have the papers, the emails to back it up. When I read that when Chris sent me the email that Equity sent to him, mm-hmm. I was livid. I was livid because I have about 45 emails, if not more, of every single thing of our correspondence between Equity and I. I have pages and pages of details. I think I even printed it out.
Now I feel like I'm at a Real Housewives reunion.
I have pages and pages of events mm-hmm. that I was reporting, and nothing was done about it. So I'm sure I left something out.
That sounds like it was enough to be with what you shared.
But I guess for me my end game is like I want people, and I think it is happening. People are speaking up and speaking out about their experiences, and especially the young folks. We need. When I was coming up, I had people to look up to who set the example for me. Mm-hmm. these dance captains, these company managers, these stage managers, they control the narrative. So in the ensemble, you don't have that much power because they control what goes into the show report, and actors don't get to see the show report. And there were times when I was in a show, and they accidentally emailed me the show report, and I was like, y'all, this is not right. I was on for this person and that person, and also this person wasn't in work. Like, they know how to cover themselves. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why you see in a lot of the same people in these shows, a lot of the same people stage managing these shows, because they can cover their butts, because there's no one to report them, and clearly no one's listening to the reports about them. Mm-hmm. And so I want that to be known. I want people to, if you are feeling like someone is abusing you, speak up. You have to speak up. Like, someone posted on Twitter that I was bullying I was bullying the dresser, and I was berating him and everything. But then in the same note said, "Oh, we got along fine." If you are my friend and you are not getting along fine, and you see me doing inappropriate behavior,
you should have said something.
Why not say something to me? Because maybe I'm not aware. You know. But the reason why is because it wasn't true. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like too bad you had to deal with a bunch of personal BS instead of just being able to enjoy your time on stage and for the experience.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard, but I think that I was telling a friend of mine. I said, I think that this happened the way that it was supposed to happen. If Actors Equity would have done their job, the behavior would have still been going on, because then I would have been attacked even more, because I reported them and got and also was successful with it. Yeah. So either way, I think what's happening now was supposed to happen. I think this is very important, and someone was like, I hope you find peace. I am at peace. I've been at peace. Mm-hmm. This is not about vengeance. It's not about it's about protecting myself and sharing my side, because I'm a very private person. I'm not someone that goes. I'm not very. You see on my Instagram, I'm a loner with social butterfly tendencies. Mm-hmm. That's how I describe myself. I have a very tight circle of friends, and some of my close friends back in earlier this year were saying, you need to post this. You need to post this on Twitter. Then you need to go on Twitter and do this. And I was like, no, because I don't want to bring it to the show. I don't want to be. It's not about Anastasia. And I want people to make that clear. Do not hate the show because of my experience. My experience is my experience, but I want people to be aware that this. But I am not the only one. It's not just me. It's what's happening across the board. Mm-hmm. A man committed suicide last year because of the bullying and microaggressions he was receiving. We have to do better.
That's a perfect place to end it, and I appreciate your candor and being so open and passionate about it. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you. I'm sorry, that went longer than you probably.
Well, people need to stick with it. We're not editing a video like this, so thank you for being so open.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so much material that it's hard to cover it all. I mean, even the article, I'm glad I touched some things that aren't in the article, mm-hmm. so people can go, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I don't put power in superficial things. I love what I do. I love being in this business. I've been in it for a long time, but I believe I've experienced it. Bubbly Brown Sugar. We were on set. There was no negativity. It was there is such a thing as a positive work environment. Mm-hmm. It does exist in theater. It does exist.
And everyone deserves that.
Yes. And yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much, James.
Thank you. Thank you for reaching out.
No problem.